The final season of Fruits Basket. This season was condensed as manga readers have informed me, and in comparison to the other seasons wasn't as long. However, this didn't stop the train of great moments in Fruits Basket, and today I'm going to give you my top 10 moments of the final season. Be mindful that I like to be specific with these moments, and as well, if you have not watched or read all of Fruits Basket, do not watch this video. There will be spoilers. No honorable mentions this time, so with that being said, let us begin. Number 10, are you cross-dressing? In light of Akito bearing her bit secret to all of the Zodiacs, there was a bit of comedy weaved in thanks to Ritsu. Staying true to the continuity, the Zodiacs, excluding Shigure and Kureno, did not know that Akito was a woman before her gender reveal. And given that Ritsu was a notorious crossdresser himself, this led to a pretty funny misunderstanding when he sees Akito looking pretty dolled up in a kimono and red lipstick. This moment was a cool way of remaining consistent to what we know in the story and having Ritsu's perspective give us laughs. Number 9, Motoko's send-off. Motoko is a character I always had to love from afar due to her lack of screen time. However, I got a great end to her character with one last talk between her and Yuki, in which her growth as a person was evident. Motoko is mostly comedic relief, but she also acts as a proxy for the girls that shallowly love Yuki. She is the quintessential Yuki fanatic. Her love for Yuki, as I said, had no depth to it initially, but gradually it developed into something deeper. How I know this is due to the contrast of how she acted in the past versus her words in her send-off. Motoko, like the other members in the Prince Yuki fan club, admired Yuki, but as Megami once pointed out, they did so in a selfish and overbearing fashion. Fast forward to this moment, and Motoko genuinely wishes Yuki happiness even if she isn't the one that grants it. She also bravely admits her love for Yuki as a way of staying true to herself rather than trying to get with him. This moment in a lot of ways parallels to Kagura's confession to Kyo, which if you see my video on my top 10 moments in season 2, you know I love that moment. Overall, this moment was super satisfying. Number 8, Mitsuru and Ritsu's celebration. This one will be extremely short because I don't have that much to say. What I will say is that this moment was probably the hardest I laughed at Fruits Basket like ever. Ritsu and Mitsuru were celebrating Shigure's retirement as a novelist like they won a championship. That might have been the happiest we've ever seen those characters look, and all it took was Shigure putting down the pen.
Rejoice, the demon is dead.
Number 7, Haru almost catches a body. Even as an Akito stan, I couldn't help but marvel at this moment. Out of all the Zodiacs, I think it's fair to say that Rin probably got the worst end of Akito's tirades. She almost died twice at the hands of Akito, and if you know Haru, Rin's pain is his pain, and hurt people hurt other people. Therefore, Haru was inches away from caving in Akito's beautiful face in, and I can't blame him. In Haru's fist, he carried the grievances of all Zodiacs that were victims of Akito, and that's pretty heavy. While I didn't want Akito's face to end up as modern art splattered on a wall, I still cannot blame Haru. Him almost punching the shit out of Akito was the perfect climax of his intense emotions at that time, and it kinda got me hyped. Number 6, Akito chokeslams Rin. Following up the last potential violent altercation, this time I chose something a little more kinetic. When this moment happened, you can check the tapes, I was hyped beyond relief. While violence isn't new to Fruits Basket, this level of brawling born from serious hatred was fresh. And the fact that Akito, who is smaller than her mom, delivers this rage-induced WWE-like chokeslam had me feeling like Jim Ross. That woman has a family. Oh, that is her family. I would explain the placement of this moment by saying I like a good fight, but this wasn't one, it was just a demolition. Besides the spectacle of the moment, this was a good way to display Akito's pure disdain for her mother. We seen Akito angry, but this was different. This was personal. Number 5, Kyo hugs Toru. I actually find this moment better than the Kyoru kiss for a couple of reasons. For one, this hug symbolizes Kyo's freedom from the bonds both in body and mind. Obviously, Kyo didn't transform into a cat after hugging Toru, so there's that, but the fact that he went for a hug in a public setting signifies the shackles in his head were now broken. The cat spirit that resides in Kyo affects him the most out of any other Zodiacs in their respective spirits. Unlike Momiji, who will hug Toru without a care, knowing he'll transform, Kyo is deeply insecure about the Soma's secret. However, it was something he overcame, and him hugging Toru freely is proof of that. I also enjoy this moment because it calls back to another huge Kyoru scene in which Toru and Kyo hug after Toru sees his true transformation. In short, this hug was a cathartic experience. Number 4, Toru reaches out to Akito. While it wasn't apparent at the very start of Fruits Basket, Toru and Akito were on a collision course due to their goals directly conflicting with one another. However, if you pay attention enough, you'll notice the parallels that exist between Toru and Akito that brings them closer together. Ultimately, they are still on different sides. Akito is somewhat sympathetic, but is mostly a bad person. Toru sorta has selfish goals, but is mostly a good person. What it would take for these opposing sides to bridge is a simple introduction. Toru reaches out and tells Akito her name. Although Akito had a lot of resentment towards Toru since she blamed her for the bonds breaking, in that moment, she wasn't the ugly girl as she calls her. She wasn't even a savior that the Zodiacs think she is. She was just Toru, a person offering her true friendship that wasn't labeled as a curse. It was a beautiful scene and one of the rare cases that I supported the infamous talk no jutsu from a character. Number 3, Akito says goodbye to the bonds. All the moments from here on out can be described as powerful. This moment in particular was Akito's formal transition into becoming a better person. Akito's iron grip on the bonds formed between her and the Zodiacs wasn't born out of malice at first. The root of it all was extreme loneliness due to her role as a god and fear that others would leave her when they had the opportunity. This obsession was enhanced by her own mother playing into Akito's pride and betting that the Zodiacs would abandon her once they got a taste of freedom. Eventually, although Akito did not want to admit it, Rain was right. Those bonds would not be eternal. They were more like cursed chains rather than strings of fate. Therefore, Akito finally let go. She no longer had to be some special entity. She could start living her life not as a god, but as a person. And that's just focusing on the side of Akito. On the Zodiac side, they were two starting over anew, departing with bonds they didn't even know they held dear. Number 2, protect my treasure. Surprisingly, this was the only scene in season 3 to make me tear up. When I watched season 1 of Fruits Basket and season 1 alone, I proclaimed that Kyoko was the best mom in anime, and my opinion was only bolstered. The sorrow I felt was immense. Even in Kyoko's dying moments, all she thought about was who would protect her daughter, calling Toru her treasure. The love Kyoko had for Toru was perfectly conveyed, and I couldn't help but feel sad that Toru lost her mom and the world lost Kyoko. The music didn't help me either. This moment finally deciphered the true meaning behind Kyoko's last words to Kyo, "I'll never forgive you," which I already thought would be put in a positive context given that Kyoko's the one saying it, but it's nice to know exactly what was on Kyoko's mind at the end. And number 1, thank you, Toru. By any metric, whether we're judging on Fruits Basket standards or the real world, Toru Honda is a hero. She has touched the lives of everyone around her and influenced them in positive ways. No, Toru doesn't have superpowers, genius intellect, or anything of the sort. She just has a big heart. It's no exaggeration to say she has literally saved lives, and as such, gratitude is the bare minimum that she should receive. I love that the words "thank you, Toru" came from Yuki's mouth for several reasons. For one, as the rat who was the first to the banquet and one closest to God, Yuki acting as a representative for all the Zodiacs is fitting. Yuki might have been the one to explicitly say that he thought of Toru as a mother, but I definitely don't think he's alone in that feeling, so it made sense that he was the one thanking Toru. I also like Yuki's words because it marked his changed relationship with Toru. Yuki will always call Toru Honda-san, not feeling comfortable enough using her given name. Calling Toru by her first name shows that Yuki is looking at her as an equal now, someone that he is now familiar with. From my memory, it is the first time Yuki addresses her as Toru, and it was amazing. It's no surprise at all that this moment came at the end of Fruits Basket because it was a flawless way to wrap up the series. Well, people, that about does it for my top 10 favorite moments of Fruits Basket the Final or Fruits Basket Season 3. Let me know some of your favorite moments in this season. It does not have to be a top 10 list like mine or anything like that. It could be top 3, it could be your very favorite moment. It does not matter to me. Tomorrow will be a very interesting video. If you stay tuned with the Fruits Basket week that I've been doing, tomorrow is going to be interesting. It's going to be a video on scenes that I wish we would have seen in Fruits Basket. All right, so if you've been following these videos, that should be nice to see as well. But guys, that's it for me. I am Satsuki the Savage. Like, comment, subscribe. I am out.
Tasting your soul, you're not in control, just giving you goals. Scared of your past, the future is closed. The start is the end is a start. They both for the same, can't tell them apart. Nigga, that's cuz the intro was the outro.